Carpentry by NJT is based in the western suburbs and has many years of experience to assist you in sourcing any and all of your carpentry needs. Carpentry by NJT are great supporters of local soccer clubs in Melbourne's western suburbs, including ambitious State League One outfit Sydenham Park Soccer Club. Home Builders Core, meanwhile, is a Melbourne-based construction company by the same owners with more than 15 years' experience. Home Builders Core specialises in new homes and unit developments. With attention to detail, they work to the highest standard to satisfy their customers with a very quick turnaround. For further details about how either Carpentry by NJT or Home Builders Core can help you, contact owner-manager Nick on 0410 576 018 or via email at nick@homebuilderscore.com.au. Carpentry by NJT and Home Builders Core are the proud major sponsors of the Football Out West show. Good evening and welcome, and a very warm welcome to you all wherever you may be tuning into this live stream of the Football Out West show, coming to you live and exclusive here on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and all other good social media channels. My name is Tonchi Prusak. It's an absolute pleasure to be with you here tonight. It is episode 103, and joining me tonight, as he does each Sunday evening, Steve Curtin. Good evening, Steve. How are you?
Yeah, good evening, Tonchi. It's been a big one today. Got out for a bit of a run and might have gone a little bit too far today. So if you see me just sort of passing out and falling off the seat a little bit later on, that will be the reason why. But hopefully we can get through 60 or 90 and put in a good shift for the team, and it'll be full credit to the boys at the end of the show, Tonchi. But how are you doing yourself?
I am good, mate. Good. It's been great to have the NPL back. Week 2 of the NPL and the NPL 2 competition. Just a quick word. Craig Filer is taking a little bit of a break tonight. He's speaking of NPL commitments. The man is very, very busy, but he has managed to get some lock in some first class guests for tonight. So we'll be talking to a few of those later on. Let's talk about that, Steve, before we do go on. A cheerio to Craig if he is tuning in, and to every one of you all that is tuning in. We can see the chat lines already starting to go pretty crazy. We've got Vladimir Zetovic, usual suspects there. Santino Mamone, he's celebrating down Geelong Way. They had the big Paco Festa, the multicultural
it's a big day for a lot of people down in Geelong West yesterday.
Huge, the self-proclaimed king of Paco, Santino. But look, whatever you did on the weekend, I hope it involved lots of fun, lots of relaxation, and lots of local football, because, as I said, the NPL is back in town. It's huge. We had some ripper goals, ripper games on the weekend. And as a result, Steve, who have we got lined up on the show tonight?
Yeah, three great guests we've got coming up tonight. First, from Avenger Park, recently joined Avondale, one of a couple of Melbourne Knights who've made the switch, headed a little bit further east to the inner north of Melbourne, and it's Aidan Bryce, the big central defender there. So really looking forward to having a chat with him. And of course, no spoilers here. They got their first win yesterday for the season, so we'll talk to him all about that. And that he will be followed by Ryan McGuffey, and he's going to be telling us about, well, what's a game of the season contender already. And this will be, I don't know if any game will beat this, Tonchi. We both got home from our commentary appointment yesterday and caught the end of this fixture, and my word, what George Andrews is a chaotic place, but Please stick around and hear what Ryan McGuffey has to say.
Yeah,
It's his first year as a senior coach as well. He had a big debut against the Knights last week at Churchill Reserve, and this particular occasion at the most chaotic venue where chaos happens, George Andrews Reserve. Last year I went there and locked myself out of my car. Like, chaos just happens out there. It's part of George Andrews Reserve. And this match was absolutely bananas. So we're going to hear about that. And then from the Preston Lions, their attacker Jordan Figon has agreed to come on the show a little later on to talk about their result. They got on the road at Werribee City yesterday and picking up their first win of the season. So looking forward to speaking to Jordan to find out how that match went after they went down in round one to nearby rivals Pascoe Vale. Tonchi. So, wow, what a star-studded lineup of guests that we've got for everyone on this Sunday evening. And I'm sure that we've got a huge viewership looking forward to those guests, Tonch.
I tell you what, look, while the State League men and the State League women and the NPLW still is a few weeks away, we will be focusing on the NPL and the NPL2 competition. And boy, as you mentioned, some of the goals, some of the games from the weekend's action were just absolutely unbelievable. Now, a big shout out to our major sponsors this year, Carpentry by NJT and Home Builders Core. If you need any carpentry, any joinery, any building requirements, needs, anything like that in the domestic construction industry, contact Nick from those two companies. Now we're going to take a very short break. When we do return, it is time for the news desk. So this short break is so short, we're only going to play the jingle. Back soon. Welcome back, Steve. Welcome back, viewers. What is happening in the world of football locally?
Yeah, let's catch up with a bit of news that's happened this afternoon. And one of the teams from the West who's doing very well this season, and we've had their coach on the show, his name is Mark Torcaso, and it's Western United's A-League women's side. They had their biggest win that they've had so far in their fantastic debut season, 6-0 up at the number 2 sports ground, as it's known, the aptly named number 2 sports ground, not number 1, at Newcastle against the Jets. And it was the first ever A-League goal for Carly Johnson, and then she went on and got a second goal within 34 minutes as well. So a really good performance, a screamer from TJ Vlanich, Danielle Steer, and of course Hannah Keane, the leading scorer in the comp. She found the back of the net too. So well done there. And we wish Mark Torcaso, if he is tuning in, a speedy recovery, because he was unable to be there because I believe he tore his calf during the week and couldn't make the trip up there. So get well soon, Mark. But I'm hearing his assistant, Helen Winterburn, did a great job looking after the girls on this afternoon's match. So yeah, we'll move on to what should we move on to next? Shall we talk about the
before? I just wanted to say about that though. Western United, how good is that first year in the A-League women's, and they're just doing so well. It's great to see the western suburbs of Victoria, of Melbourne, being represented on the national stage in such a way. But that was my little two Bob's comment there.
Yeah, no, and I think that's a good point, Tonchi, that you're making. It shows the strength of the NPL women's competition in Australia, that a lot of those girls that have not played in the A-League women's before, you got like your Taranto twins and a whole bunch of other players that have come through that Calder United pathway. Alana Cern have just had a sensational performance. Emma Robers, the list goes on. And I've been just thoroughly impressed by their ability to step up to that next level and not miss a beat. So it's certainly been it's been fantastic.
Has been indeed, yeah. The Australia Cup, the draw was done during the week, and it's round 3, and this is where the State League 1 and State League 2 teams enter the competition. This should be really interesting.
Yeah, some good fixtures coming up next week when looking forward to. So yeah, some of those State League 1 sides from the West coming in. Corio comes in, and all Western Victorian battle between Corio and Western Suburbs. I think that's a Friday night kickoff as well. Santino will be able to put that in the comments. So get out and check out these matches next weekend. I know there'll be matches from Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So heaps to go and see. Some of the other matches, all Western Suburbs or Western and semi-Western. Hoppers Crossing playing upfield. We've got Glenroy Lions from the north. They're playing against Epsom Soccer Club from the Bendigo area. Geelong Rangers, they're also hosting regional opposition in Shepparton South. We got Whittlesea United hosting Albion Rovers, and another all-Western suburbs clash, Truganina against the Keilor Wolves. And we've got confirmation from the man himself, the King of Paco, that match is actually going to take place on Wednesday night. So that's coming up sooner than we bargained for. So good luck to Corio and Western Suburbs in that big match.
Wednesday night football, Steve, you got to love it midweek, hey?
Yeah. You might get to
midweek.
Yourself, maybe.
The good. Yeah, it's in a sort of not too far from my area, neck of the woods, but it's the great facilities there at Hume Reserve now with the new club rooms, but also the fantastic new floodlights there, or recent floodlights, I should say. So expect some good midweek football action on that one. Yeah, that's awesome.
Absolutely. We might touch on the National Second Division, which has been a topic that's driven a lot of interest in football and in our program over the last year or a couple of years as well. And the expressions of interest period is on, and clubs, we believe up to 25 clubs have put in an expression of interest. And if that's correct, that's a huge number, isn't it, Tonchi? Very exciting time. And we saw, I suppose one of the pin-up clubs in Victoria, Preston Lions, announced that they have indeed put in their expression of interest earlier in the week. Another Macedonian club, Rockdale, up in Sydney, they've put in theirs, and a whole bunch of Queensland-based clubs as well. Gold Coast Knights, the Sunshine Coast, Peninsula Power, Olympic FC up there, Ben Kahn's old club that he coached before moving to the Knights. Perth Soccer Club's an interesting one. They've come out and said that we're not putting in an application for the expression of interest period for the National Second Division. And that might well mean that we don't see any West Australian teams. So maybe no football across the Nullarbor, which would be a shame, Tonchi. It would be a shame.
Look, it would be, but initially,
understandable as well.
Because understandable, the costs are going to be, let's face it, for a lot of these second-tier clubs, exorbitant. And unless there's money coming in from TV rights, unless there's money coming in from league sponsorship, we're not talking individual club sponsorship, that's going to filter back to the clubs. It's going to be a rather expensive proposition for a lot of them. And I know in South Australia, I think Adelaide City are the only ones that have put their hand up. The rest of the clubs, including West Adelaide Hellas, which is quite interesting, have decided not to. And I think with the South Australian and the Western Australian clubs, there is going to be a concentration of Eastern Seaboard clubs represented, no doubt. And look, for the first few years, I think a lot of those clubs will be sort of adopting a wait and see attitude. And you can totally understand that, Steve. Like I said, costs will be quite high, and will the return on investment be sufficient for them to sort of really prosper at that level? Look, I'd love to see it happen down the track. But in the short term, maybe Adelaide City, and that's as far west as we could probably expect. But look, sit tight, watch this space. No doubt this is just the first phase, isn't it? The expression of interest. But then the next phase, I think they have to put $5,000 as an application deposit or something like that.
Yeah, seeing that in the comments from Alex Sivkarowski there as well. So, that's a bit of a put your money where the mouth is, but where your mouth is moment, I suppose, for clubs wanting to do that. And I've seen a little bit of an online backlash about that as well. And I think some rumors that it could be even more than 5,000 too. So, it's an interesting time, and it's a shame that we can't get an official list of, I suppose there's some confidentiality agreements, and if clubs don't want to say, they don't have to say. So
possibly.
A lot of clubs have proudly come out and used their socials to inform us that they have submitted their EOI. So, look, we'll just have to keep trading along and see where this takes us. Tasmania, I haven't heard of South Hobart putting in, if I'm not, if I'm correct there. So I haven't heard of any Tasmanian bids as yet as well, but hopefully there's one from the Apple Isle as well, which would be nice.
Yeah. Anything else happening in the world of soccer before we turn our attention to the NPL and NPL2 Victoria competitions?
Well, it's 8:15 now, so I think it's only time that we've got a lot to unpack in this round. So I think it's time to tick over to the men's NPL1 and look forward to dissecting some of these games, Tonchi.
Yeah, look, we're going to take a very, very short commercial break. And when we return, we're going to tackle the NPL and the NPL2 competitions. Just a quick overview, and then it's time for our for our first guest for tonight. And that'll be the strapping Avondale FC defender, Aidan Bryce, who'll be joining us. His side's off to a very, very good start. And we'll find out all about that straight after this break. Folks, don't go away to the Football Out With Show, episode 103, season 5. How good is that? See you soon.
At Guzman Finance, like you, we are passionate about the Western Suburbs and football. Our main passion, however, is helping customers succeed in their financial goals. As trusted mortgage brokers, we offer knowledge, personalised service, and access to hundreds of loan products from Australia's leading lenders. If you're in the market for buying your first home, looking for a better interest rate on your mortgage, renovating your home, or buying an investment property, my team and I will help you manage the process from start to finish. Avoid costly mistakes and expensive loan products. Contact our office on 9369 6805 or 0425 826 055.
Welcome back to the Football Out West show. Steve, let's turn our attention now to round 2 of the NPL Victoria competition. Did you want to go through the results first of all?
Yeah, let's have a look through. We've got some results and some goal scorers from the weekend's matches. So we'll go back to Friday night, and there was a couple of 7:30 kickoffs. The Knights and Oakley Cannons. Oakley certainly went in favourites in this one, Tonchi, but they were held by a Knights side with Evaro Nepomuceno scoring. Well, I think at the moment it's the goal of the season from that set piece to cancel out the young boy who's come down from Queensland, Alexander Flickner, who got his first goal for the Cannons. Did you catch a bit of this one yourself on Friday night, Tonchi?
I saw only a little bit of the highlights, but that goal was absolutely what a pile driver. We talk about some of the goals that were scored this week. We also saw one at North Geelong yesterday, not by North Geelong, but by the opposing team, Port Melbourne. We'll get onto that shortly, but that was fantastic. Hume City, Heidelberg United, 1-1 draw there. Green Gully hosted South Melbourne, and mate, South Melbourne, they were tested by Moreland City in round 1, but in this game they were quite comprehensive in their defeat over Green Gully. Steve,
our pal Craig Filer was at this game with Lockie Flanagan. I haven't had a chance to catch up with a lot of the highlights, but I think Green Gully they shot themselves in the foot when Gianluca Iannucci, one of their attackers, was sent off in the 32nd minute, and it really opened the door for South, who were already winning 1-0. Alan Guerres with a goal for Gully, though, the former Geelong central midfielder, scoring his first goal for the Cavaliers. But Ajak Riak, looks like a good signing for the South Melbourne side, scoring a double in the second half to complement the earlier goal by Max Mikola, who's certainly a player that's already stamped his authority on NPL Victoria last year. Now, Moreland City, they got their first win, and
yes.
How exciting is this for Adrian Mathers and all of the boys down there? Nicholas Bavkar and Fletcher Fulton, the boy from Tassie, getting on the score sheet. As we say, Nicholas, the better of the two Bavkar brothers. The other one is, just doing his thing, refereeing that Nick is the star of the family.
Yeah,
we've got no doubts about that. Yep. Jackson Morgan scoring on 7 minutes for the Bentley Greens. Christian Pavlidis sent off on 12 minutes. So a feature of a couple of these games on the weekend was dismissals in the first half, which really set the teams back, and Moreland City at CB Smith get their first win, and maybe they'll be wishing they played there, just all the time, given that they can't play at Campbell Reserve, their usual venue.
Absolutely. Now, Avondale FC, they defeated Altona Magic 3-0 at Avenger Park. We'll go a little bit in depth in this game with our first guest, Aidan Bryce, who is in the green room. He's patiently waiting to come on, so we'll get to him very, very quickly. Steve, the game that you and I commentated yesterday at Alco Park, a good crowd first up, very humid conditions, but North Geelong took it up to Port Melbourne Sharks, but the Sharks, who finished in second spot last year, they just prevailed. They were too strong. 2-0 winners over the newcomers North Geelong, and you've got the goal scorers there, Steve.
Yeah, Port Melbourne side that just seems to have added strength and depth to their lineup, and they look like a imposing figure this year in NPL Victoria. Chris Duggan scoring from the spot on 9 minutes, and then what would have been the goal of the round any other week, Luca Tavir with picking up the ball on halfway, a solo run, and then blasting it into the top left corner with an absolute perler of a strike. So good couple of goals there. But yeah, the Sharks bringing on players like Dorjock off the bench, who's recently been in the A-League. They've got Ross Archibald, who was suspended, to come back. They seem to, Mohamed Adam coming off the bench as well. The depth of that squad is scary, and the way they're playing is quite good at the moment. They won't want to peak too early, but yeah, I'm pretty impressed with what I saw. But and on the same token as well, North, they did their best with what they had, and they weren't that far away from what is a really top side. So certainly not fearing for North Geelong at this point in time, Tonji.
No, Caleb Mikulic, their leading goal scorer last season, he missed yesterday's game. He was a groomsman at a wedding, we believe. Anthony Banavats, the tall, reliable centre-back, a real clubman, he also was missing, and he's just coming off a foot injury. He should be right for next week. But look, they had a couple of players out as well. So definitely the signs are good for both clubs. Although I guess they have differing type of aims for this year. Now, the big guy in the last game, the George Andrews Reserve, we talked about it. 4-4. Wow, that was the final score. At one stage, St Albans was leading 3-1. Dandenong Thunder scored the next 3 goals to be 4-3 up. 6 minutes of time added on, and in the 6th minute of time added on, a penalty to St Albans, and they converted. And it was 4-4. Unbelievable game. Like, the A-League doesn't have this type of edge of the seat excitement. But Steve, let's go through the goal for us.
Well, what a performance from George Ott, because he scored last week against the Knights, the New Zealander, the Otter, and he's scored himself a hat-trick in this one. And the pressure of that last 97th minute spot kick as well, Tonchi, I think it's a bit hard to tell on the stream. I think it went in off the post, so he measured it very well. But yeah, that would have been a nervy moment taking that, but he took it with no fuss. Joey Monek had already opened the scoring for the Saints earlier in the match. Mamadi Kamara, who's made the move across from Green Gully Reserve, got his first goal in his new Thunder colours, as well as Scott Lockhead, who scored a penalty, and another new signing as well, Joshua Carrance. He scored in the 91st minute, and it was, another new signing as well. Jeffrey Leno, the 93rd minute, that was the goal that was to be the winner, and it didn't prove to be.
Yeah, the winner that was almost the winner, but it wasn't quite. We're gonna find out all the ins and outs of that game from first year St Albans coach Ryan McGuffey. He'll be coming up very, very shortly. We're gonna have a quick look at the ladder now, and then we'll look at the fixtures for next week, and then we're going to be joined by Aidan Bryce from Avondale FC. But South Melbourne, they're the only side that have managed to maintain a 100% win record at the moment, which is quite interesting. Only team after 2 rounds not to have points. Yeah. Avondale, second spot with 4. Oakley Cannons, likewise with 4, as is Port Melbourne Sharks and Dandenong Thunder. We've got 2 teams on 3 points, Moreland City and North Geelong Warriors, on identical points and identical goals against. Everything's exactly the same. So technically, I suppose they're sharing 6th spot there. Then we've got the St Albans Saints, Melbourne Knights, Hume City, all on 2 points. Heidelberg United, Altona Magic on 1. And look at those 2 teams occupying the relegation spot, yet to open their account. Bentley Greens and Green Gully, goodness me. That's not something you'd expect to be happening in the NPL. And certainly, I'm sure that won't be the case in a few weeks' time. But starting this weekend or this Friday, those 2 teams meet in a battle of the bottom contest. So either one of those teams is going to get the maximum points, or they're both going to share points. Either way, they will have opened their account. Someone will have opened their account at Kingston Heath Soccer Complex. That game kicks off at 7:30 p.m. on Friday night. Bentley Greens hosting Green Gully. What are the other games in round 3, Steve?
Yeah, moving on from that 6-point game. Can you have a 6-point game in round 3? I'm going to say yes. That is a 6-point game. But the Bentley Greens, they've had a lot of turnover of players, so they're going to take a little while to find their feet. And Green Gully just trying to get going with the new year. They've had a tough draw playing both of the grand finalists in the first 2 weeks. St Albans Saints hosting Heidelberg United. That looks like an interesting clash. It's hard to tell which way that one will go, but St Albans, they've impressed a lot of people so far. They always get written off. People always put them in their bottom 3 or 4 clubs, but they're showing they've got something this year. And if you've got the Golden Boot winner elect after only 2 games, George Ott. Well, that's a good start.
Yeah.
Moving on to Saturday.
And that's a Friday night game, by the way, Steve. Very
is.
unusual. Yeah, 8 p.m. on a Friday night.
It is. They just played the solitary one Friday night game at home last season, and they've gone for it again. So, and they drew a good crowd for it too. I was there with Brent Sternberg for that game last year, and it was pretty packed at Churchill on a night that wasn't that warm. So, I think they'll pull a pretty good crowd at that one. Aidan Bryce's club, Avondale, they're at home for the second week in a row playing Hume City. They had last time they met at that particular ground, it was a 4-3 result to Avondale, a last-minute goal for Blake Carpenter. So maybe we'll see a repeat of that drama. Port Melbourne Sharks hosting Moreland City a little later in the evening at JL Murphy at 6 o'clock. So Port Melbourne will go in pretty short favourites. 6:15 at Paisley Park, Tonchi. A couple of Western clubs going toe-to-toe, Altona Magic and North Geelong Warriors. Can you see a result for either side there, or will they share the points?
Oh, well, that's going to be an interesting one. Magic are winless at the moment. They're playing at home, so they'll be absolutely desperate to get their first 3 points. It's just down the road for North Geelong Warriors, making the half-hour trip from Lara in the northernmost suburb of Geelong. It could be an interesting one. I'm going to say it's going to be a draw. North Geelong Warriors are due for a draw. They've won one and lost one, so they might look for a draw. And I think the Magic, well, yeah, this could be quite an interesting one. But, once again, we'll find out a little bit more about Altona Magic from Aidan Bryce, who'll be joining us very shortly. We've got Dandenong Thunder hosting Oakley Cannons. This is going to be a good one. If the game against St Albans was an absolute heart-stopping game, this will be equally exciting. And then the original Melbourne Derby next Monday night, folks, 7:30 p.m. at Lakeside Stadium. South Melbourne hosting the Melbourne Knights. 2 teams we talk about the National Second Division. 2 teams that are very, very keen to explore that opportunity. And South Melbourne, as we've seen, 2 wins from 2 games. Melbourne Knights, they did well to hold Oakley Cannons to a 1-1 draw, courtesy of that pile driver. And the big derby in round 1 against sister club St Albans ended at 1-1. But when these 2 sides meet, Steve, all form book goes out the window. You never know what you're going to get. And usually, one thing you can be sure of, it's going to be lots of action. And a decent crowd, especially on a Monday night. So
I like the standalone kickoff on the Monday. I'm assuming they've maybe been bumped by the Athletics, which seem to be on every weekend at the moment. So, but it might be a blessing in disguise because it might mean a really good crowd, and I think it will mean a huge TV audience as well on MPL TV. There'll be a plethora of fans tuning in to watch that one who can't make it to Lakeside Stadium, but. You know what? I might try and get along and see it firsthand because I think, this could be a beauty because the Knights are they're maybe a different proposition this year, and South Melbourne, they look good already. So, let's see which way it goes.
Yeah, he's been waiting patiently in the green room, and we're very, very thankful to Aidan Bryce for being so patient. He joins us now live here on Football Out West Show. Aidan, how are you? Welcome to the Football Out West Show. It's great to have you on the on tonight's show.
Hey boys, thanks for having me. It's going to be a pleasure. I can't wait to have a chat.
That's the way, mate. A good start to the season. We saw that obviously after the culmination of 2 rounds, Avondale find themselves sitting nice and pretty in second spot, just 2 points behind the. We can't use the term runaway leaders, can we now?
No, not by 2 points. No,
say that.
Come on.
But, Aidan,
not having that.
Not yet.
The big crossover from the Melbourne Knights and the Knights and Avondale does have a very good rivalry there, so there's probably going to be even more ingredients to the rivalry. But how have you found your new surrounds there at Avenger Park and the team as well? And how have you found just fitting into the I don't know, the furniture there, so to speak?
Look, the transition's been like I thought it was going to be a lot harder than it's been, and it's been really good. The boys are good towards me. Obviously, Melbourne Knights and Avondale having the rivalry back in the last couple of seasons, and there's been some pretty big, I guess, what can I say, challenges with a few of the players in the team, and a few words have been said before. But now I'm a part of the squad. I'm a brother to them. they're a brother to me, and I they couldn't be any happier that I've joined the club, and I couldn't be any happier either.
And speaking of your movement across in the club scene as well in the off season, Tom Manos coming across with you, you've got him behind you and you're in front. Does that make it feel a little bit familiar, even though you're wearing the blue shirts now?
Yeah, it's good. It's always good to have someone on a personal level as well in behind you, because like the things he helped me with last year, captaining the Knights, he's brought it into this season, and I improve as a player when I play in front of Tommy Manos. So it's good, and yeah, look, we go to training together. We go to games together if we need to. Like we're always there for each other. So having him behind in the sticks is a massive help.
Now, turning our attention to yesterday's game, we've got some footage there on the screen as we speak, Aiden. It sort of started off slowly, as we can see the game's almost gone 3/4 of the way through and it's still 0-0, but then sort of the floodgates started to happen in the last 25 or so minutes. How did you find Altona Magic? Were they initially hard to break down, or was it more of a case of, just some early nerves from the boys in blue until you settled down and then really started playing your natural game plan?
Look, I think our first game at home in front of the home fans, there was a president's lunch on before it, so a lot of the major sponsors and stuff were there. So I think coming out, wanting to prove a point that, like, we're not here to get run over this year. We're here to set a statement on the competition and take it on for the, I think it was, 26 rounds. So I think at the start, we created a lot of chances. Just couldn't find the back of the net, and I think that's just put down to we had too much energy, and that kept making us make the wrong decision maybe. But look, I can't complain. I haven't had that many opportunities in the first half before, so it was positive. Like I didn't think we started off bad or slow. I just think we just took a bit to find the back of the net, and but Altona, they were a different opponent to read. They're a bit of a newer squad compared to last year's. I feel they got a lot of new boys. But look, they were young, they were energetic, they wanted to keep running all day, but we always just said we had to stay patient, and when we get one goal, I'm sure we'll be able to start opening up the game a little bit more, and we'll be able to get 1, 2, 3, and hopefully just keep running over them, which I think we sort of did. We sort of got onto that, and once Yusuf Ahmed come on, I haven't seen a performance like that off the bench in a long time, and he got the one off Liam Boland's penalty, and then he scored 2 minutes later, and he just really set the rest of the game up for us. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was a classic case of the floodgates opening, and when they did, it took a little while, but it was, I guess, worth the wait for the Avengers fans and the players. What was the message, I suppose, from Zoran going into this game? Did you take anything away from that match in round 1 against Port Melbourne? Because that was a very interesting tactical battle for round 1 last week.
Look, the game against Port, they went down to 10 men in the first half. We had a lot of opportunities where we could have taken the game away from them, but credit to Port Melbourne, they held in 10 men. So it was like when a team goes down to 10 men, it's like you're playing against 12 men. And against Port, good footballing team, they obviously set that standard last year as well, with how they finished on the back end of the season. But the message going into this game was pretty much the same as Port. We weren't trying to change the way we play, because we obviously play our own style of football, and we're really good at it. So pretty much the message stays the same. Just try and keep teams on the back foot, keep going at teams, and we'll eventually get a breakthrough. And we've got enough quality in the top third and in the middle that if we get one, we can keep pushing and get 2 and hopefully run away with the win.
Now, Aiden, one of our viewers has gave us a little interesting story that happened at the game, Alex Sivkorovsky. Thank you very much for that. A funny thing happened in the Avondale versus Altona game. Get this. The ref forgot his cards after halftime and had to get the fourth official to get it, delaying the game. Did that actually happen?
Look, I thought there could have been a couple of challenges in the first half that required a yellow card, and he obviously didn't give them. And now we know the reason why, because he didn't have the cards in the pocket. But yeah, it did happen. And look, the game was flowing really good. Like, it was the rain was coming down, so the football was good. And then we had a couple of minute delay, and it sort of just slowed the game off a little bit and changed the tempo. And then, but yeah, he forgot his cards, and he was very apologetic for it. But we just said to him, "You're ruining a perfect game of footy."
Yeah. It's often an accusation, but this was literally the case, which makes it all the better, I think, Aiden. What do you make of Avenger Park to play at? Obviously, it was a wet track yesterday a little bit. How did it play? And I guess you've got a bit of a front-loaded fixture of home games, which I think is due to the venue hosting a Women's World Cup training later in the year. And what's your thoughts on Avenger Park as a venue to play at week in, week out, or in the current state every week?
Look, with the pitch upgrades that they've done, the pitch is absolutely carpet at the moment, and with the weather yesterday, a bit of rain on there, the ball was just gliding along the park. And even when it's dry, the ball still zips around. And look, I haven't played. That's my first home game for Avondale there, and the crowd was good. I haven't really been a part of a club where the crowd was like that. So it was good to see the sponsors and that come down and watch us get up and get the win in a, I guess, miserable day with a bit of rain, a bit of heat. So it was good.
Yeah. Now turning our attention to round 3 this Saturday again, and back to Avenger Park. So it's a double header, so to speak, 2 consecutive weekends. Hume City. We've seen 2 games, 2 draws, so they've had a little bit of a bit like Heidelberg, I suppose, a bit of a kind of I won't say not an impressive start, but it's been a sort of a low-key start to the season for them. Do you know much about Hume City and what are you expecting with them? I mean, they did struggle last year, but have they got a new squad? Have you got any particular players that you want to sort of keep an eye on, being the central defender for Avondale?
Look, I think it was the winger last week, maybe, scoring absolute rocket into the top corner. Obviously, he's going to be one guy to keep your eye on, as the likewise of Bingham as well. He's a real big stature in the box, so he can get up for a header when you're not focused, and he can really punish you. But look, I think Hume as a collective, they're a good club. They're a good football playing club. Like last year, they didn't have the best run, but towards the back end, they look very positive. And with the new coach and a couple of new additions that are also very good players, I think this year, they're playing pretty footy. They're just not scoring the opportunities at the moment. But once they start scoring a few goals and that, I think they'll be a very, very, very competitive team going forward.
Yeah, definitely. Looking forward to seeing what Yagub Mustafa can provide for them since he's made the move out there. And yeah, I mean, Ersan Gulam is a very experienced professional, and he's going to be instilling that into their side. It might take a little while to get up and running. But for you, Aiden, on the training track, have you been practicing your set pieces and getting forward and hoping to score a few goals this season? Is are you enjoying training with your new squad and under Zoran?
Yeah, in set pieces training and that, I try and get up and practice a few, because you never know. Centre back's luck might score a goal on the weekend, which I'm hoping to do this year. But yeah, the coaching and that under Zoran's just improved my game a lot more. So I'm a lot more focused on playing a lot more footy, and I just want to play my part for the team. I'm not really focused on anything else other than doing the team proud and doing what I do best. So. Yeah.
Awesome.
Steve, any last question? Sheet at some time. Yeah, I think so. Well, I think that's about all we got time for, Tonch. Yeah. So just like to say a big thank you to Aiden for giving us your time on your Sunday night, and really good luck to you and the team from Avondale for the rest of the season, and have a good match against Hume City this Saturday. And as we said, it was a thriller last time you guys played there against Hume, and hopefully it's equal as exciting this time around.
Look, every game of football we're going to play is going to be exciting, and yeah, I'd just like to say thanks for having me on the show. Thanks for the chat, and I'm sure I'll catch up with you at a few games throughout the year. So thank you.
That you will. Good on you, Aidan Bryce from Avondale Football Club, and well done on the start so far in the NPL competition. All right, Steve, we're going to take a very short break. When we return, doesn't look like we've got Ryan McGuffey yet in the green room, but we do have Jordan Feig on from Preston Lions, so we might turn our attention to NPL2 shortly after the break. So we'll be talking about that big game against Werribee City. Craig Filer's Werribee City, and big crowd, magnificent, talking about fantastic new facilities there at Costa's Mitre 10 Park in Werribee, or Galvin Park to the old faithful that knew it like that. We'll be talking to the winning Preston Lions player Jordan Feig. Don't go away, folks. Carpentry by NJT is based in the western suburbs and has many years of experience to assist you in sourcing any and all of your carpentry needs. Carpentry by NJT are great supporters of local soccer clubs in Melbourne's western suburbs, including ambitious State League One outfit Sydenham Park Soccer Club. Home Builders Corp, meanwhile, is a Melbourne-based construction company by the same owners with more than 15 years' experience. Home Builders Corp specialises in new homes and unit developments. With attention to detail, they work to the highest standard to satisfy their customers with a very quick turnaround. For further details about how either Carpentry by NJT or Home Builders Corp can help you, contact owner-manager Nick on 0410 576 018 or via email at nick@homebuilderscorp.com.au. Carpentry by NJT and Home Builders Corp are the proud major sponsors of the Football Out West show. Welcome back to the Football Out West show. It's great to see the chat lines are going absolutely crazy tonight. There's a couple of conversations happening there, a couple of interesting stories, and we can't. We've
got to hear about this Dynamo weight loss challenge that Adam's exactly talking about in the comments.
Yes, we're going to have to. Yes, thank you, Adam Tenanini, for putting that up. Yes, Ryan McGuffey hopefully will be coming on very, very shortly. But we're going to turn our attention now to State League 2. And before we bring our State League to NPL 2, we're going to look at the ladder first of all there, and look at some of the results that happened over the course of the weekend. Round 2, we've still got 2 games to come. Bulleen hosting Melbourne City and Kingston City taking on Brunswick Juventus. That's on Monday night. But apart from that, Steve, let's go through the results of the weekend's round 2 clashes in NPL 2 Victoria.
Yeah, a bit of a heavyweight battle on Friday night. CB Smith Reserve saw Pascoe Vale 3-1 winners over Dandenong City, who Dandenong City looked pretty good last week. And I saw one snippet, which was a cracking goal from a free kick from Tommy Harris, who's gone viral on the internet recently with his football content. So well done to him and everyone. And Alex Cobo, who we spoke to from Pascoe Vale last week. Lang Warren 2-1 winners as well on Friday night over Northcote City. Good work by everyone at the Eastern Lions as well. I saw a bit of footage of their game. Ian Dunn does a great job. He's got a setup there with about 8 different cameras, and he chops it all together and makes a video in Vimeo of the highlights. And he's got Neil Simons as well, one of our usual FV commentators commentating, doing some work for the club as well. So well done to everyone at Gardeners Creek Reserve. 3-1 winners over Manningham United for the Lions in their season after their relegation back down a division. Werribee City were hoping for a good result against the Lions, as you said, at Galvin Park on the weekend, but they went down 1-0. Connor Bell, I believe, was the scorer on around 80 minutes. Brunswick City beat Western United. Good result for Brunswick City. They're 3-1 winners against the A-League under-23 side. Kingston City, as you said, and Moreland Zebras will play, as well as Bulleen and Melbourne City tomorrow at 8:15. Tonchi.
Yeah, look, and there's the ladder, as you can see. Pascoe Vale on top, sitting very pretty on top with Lang Warren as well. They've got 6 points there as well. What was the score? Did you say the Brunswick City Western United game? Was it Western United won or Brunswick City won?
Brunswick
That's
City with the
wrong
win
letter.
there. Yeah, it's
Oh,
not in
righto.
Sports TG. So whoever's in charge of getting those into Sports TG, make sure. Oh, Brunswick City lost to Western United. Okay, there you go. Thank you, Tony. We've got that score incorrect on Google Sports. There you go. I was relying on Google Sports and I've been let down.
Yeah.
So good thing we've got Tony.
I did update the ladder
It was
earlier
2-1.
tonight, and I
2-1.
was
Thank
pretty
you,
sure.
Tony.
Yeah, I was pretty sure Western United did win. So they've also got an unblemished record at the top there. Eastern Line. Well, Melbourne City will have a chance to also do the same when they take on Bulleen, who lost their first game of the season last week. So that game's on Monday night. So we could have a little bit of a traffic jam happening at the top of the round 2 standings. Manningham United, Dandenong City and Preston Lions, they've won one, lost one. Brunswick Juventus have drawn one from one game. Werribee City, as we've seen, 1 draw, 1 loss, and then it moves further down, and we've got Kingston City, Northcote City just outside of the drop zone. And Bulleen Lions and Brunswick City then find themselves at the moment in the 2 bottom positions, but I'm sure that's going to change. We could quickly look at the fixtures. Round 3 fixtures. Blockbuster coming up on Friday night. We'll talk a little bit more about this, but Dandenong City itching to get back into the elite NPL competition. They host Preston Lions, Frank Holohan Soccer Complex on
It's going to be a huge crowd, Tonji. Huge crowd there.
Oh, yeah. And this one is at CB Smith Reserve as well. Brunswick Juventus hosting Northcote City. That should be the Northern Suburbs derby. Yep. Yeah. That's at 8:30. Then Werribee City taking on Kingston City the following day at Galvin Park. Manningham United hosting Brunswick City. Western United at home to Pascoe Vale at City Vista Pavilion, home of Caroline
as well.
George Cross.
Yeah,
that's another
first
one.
versus third.
One, yeah. Well, 2 equal top spots if you want to look at it that way. Melbourne City at home to Eastern Lions in the Southeastern Derby, and then Bulleen Lions at home to Langwarrin on Monday night. So lots and lots of football action in the NPL2 coming your way. And it's now time to bring on our guest, our next guest. He's from the Preston Lions Football Club, and they had a very good 1-0 win over Werribee City yesterday. It's an absolute pleasure to bring on Jordan Figan. Is it Figon or Figan, Jordan?
Figon.
Figon. Okay, there we go. Good to have you, mate. Thank you for taking some time out on a Sunday night to talk to us here at the Football Out West show. First win of the season. Let's rewind 1 week back. Huge crowd, season opener there at BT Connor Reserve. Unfortunately, wasn't the result that you wanted against a very, very good Pascoe Vale side. Is Pascoe Vale the team to beat for the title this year, in your opinion?
Well, firstly, thank you guys for having me on the show. In terms of team to beat, I'm not too familiar myself. Moving. Obviously, you get to hear the clubs and the big. It was a disappointing result. This game of the season, and Tremendous was amazing. I won the loss, but we need to weaken, put in a solid shift. And
yeah, unfortunately, we seem to be having a little bit of technical problems with Jordan's audio. We can hear you, but it seems to be chopping up a little bit. We'll try and proceed, and hopefully the little gremlins will iron themselves out. But Steve, you had a couple of things you'd like to ask.
Jordan, if you can hear us all good there, we'll just talk a bit about your match yesterday against Werribee City, and we've got a bit of footage of it coming up on the screen here. This was the NPL 2 feature game on NPL TV yesterday in the rain at Galvin Park as well. What was the message from Lou yesterday leading into this match for you guys on your first trip on the road for the season?
A message, 3 points. We really needed to stay focused. They coming off a loss, particularly the message was clear throughout the weekend. Everyone to put in that 100% from any football side. Thought it was a far from polished. I think we created our own luck. The ball feet, and probably no better person to have that. We're a tough win, but also I thought we deserved it.
Now that ground looks absolutely pristine. I mean, last week Craig was talking about when we had Leah Blaney, the young Matildas coach on there, when we talked about how fantastic the facilities are there, and look, the local council and the state government have really prepared this facility in preparation for the Women's World Cup. But mate, playing on there, and look, you're no stranger to fantastic facilities and great surfaces at BT Connor Reserve, but this must have been another level.
Yeah.
I mean, looking at it there, it just looks like what we were used to say, Wembley. It's like you're playing on Wembley. But that ground, the surface there, just looks absolutely immaculate. How was it playing on there?
Yeah, the clubs are very welcoming as well. So to them, all the community guys are very our club. But the grass and it's of play on. As a footballer, you like a nice flat grass pitch surface.
Yeah.
But use like that, try to keep the ball moving, keep it on the ground, and good football, entertain the fans.
Yeah, for sure. It looks like an excellent pitch indeed, and the pictures of it we've seen leading into that young Matildas camp, it looked something like Wembley, just about. Now, your role in the team yesterday, you had to bide your time and come off the bench against Pascoe Vale last week, but this week you were straight in from the first whistle. What was your function in the attack yesterday, Jordan?
Old-fashioned number 9. I've 80 odd minutes, and that's in a combination of all the preseason minutes. I've been in and out of the game for coming back from Europe. So with me in getting that body right, coming off the bench, a clear message to myself as well, to hold the line, lead the players into play, and try and play mine after others. And
yeah, unfortunately,
if the time comes.
Yeah, we apologise. That really is poor audio, unfortunately, there, and seems to be that every third word seems to be cutting out, and we're not able to hear exactly what is going on. So maybe, Jordan, just every time you're about to say the third word, stop for a second and then continue. That might do the trick.
Great solution. That's better than turning off and turning on again, Tonj.
Yeah, it's like I'm about to talk now, and then we might be able to get everything. Let's turn our attention to this week. Dandenong City, this is a big game. We talk about big crowds. Dandenong City have been having some good crowds as well. But at Frank Holohan Reserve, this is at 7:45. That's an unusual kickoff time, Steve, isn't it? 7:45 p.m. A big game. Both teams, Jordan, have won one and lost one. And look, obviously, because it's still early in the season, obviously, so, we're not going to get carried away or anything like that. But nonetheless, you don't want to be dropping any more points, because as those ladder leaders start to kind of slowly inch their way away, Pascoe Vale, Western United, Langwarrin, you definitely want to be making things easier, not harder for you, chasing those front runners. I mean, a win is imperative here. How will the boys approach this game? Will it be much of a muchness as you do each week, or will there be something slightly different, the way you approach it, being another Friday night game? Do you change your sort of routine a little bit differently?
No, given the majority of the night, the routine for the Friday game for round one, I think the mouse is to on the training pitch. Tomorrow's session and for us and the rest of the coaching staff
Yeah, I'll jump in with the next question. I think,
Yeah.
Jordan, for those of us who don't know you and your journey, I think you're 29 years of age, if I'm
Yeah.
right. Tell us a little bit about your journey that's led to that's led to you playing at Preston. I believe you're at Rockdale, Illingdon in the past, possibly.
Yeah. I started off as a St George back in as part of their 20s and so on. From then on, the A-League system at Sydney FC for a couple of, that's when I had, 4 options. So it set me out of the game for about 2. They told me at that 21 years old that, before I was a bit too far out of the reach given the had with the knees. So probably my max. To the States to test the water. It wasn't the greatest move. Learn how to coach. Put a reasonable season at Rockdale team that I'm going back to the professional environment. I completely blew my knees out, and then came back at 25 and retired, semi-retired since that. It's been a long and arduous journey, I suppose. Lots of I'm thankful for every minute.
Right. Okay. Look, we're going to have to finish it there. Unfortunately, the audio seems to be cutting out, and it really is difficult to understand you. Jordan, we're going to have to get you on the show again some other time, and we'll have to iron out those audio problems from your end. But look, thank you very much for coming on the show tonight. All the very best for the big game against Dandenong City under lights at Frank Holohan Soccer Complex on Friday night. That's at 7:45 p.m. kickoff. It's a battle of 7th versus 8th. 1 win and 1 loss from both your opening 2 games. Mate, all the best for the season ahead. And we're going to have to get you back on one day and compare the two, the New South Wales NPL and the Victorian NPL, because I'd really love to hear your thoughts on that once you've had a few games under your belt and you can sort of make a bit of an educated answer.
No dramas, guys. Thank you. I apologise for the issues, but hopefully we'll see you again soon.
That you will.
That sounds good. Thanks very much for your time tonight, Jordan, and good luck this week against Dandy City. Well, we couldn't quite catch everything that Jordan said, but it sounds like he's had a very interesting career path so far.
Yeah.
A guy in his 29th year and, towards the latter stage of his career. But look, he's had time out of the game. Maybe sometimes players that have a bit of time out through injury end up somehow prolonging their carear.
Yeah, so played at St George. Then, I did look up on his biography. He was at the Sydney FC youth side. Then he did play with Rockdale, Illingdon, I think Sutherland Shire Sharks as well in the New South Wales Premier League. And now he's down here in Victoria in the NPL 2 competition. And who knows, maybe next year we'll be playing in NPL 1.
Maybe the National Second Division, Tonji. Who knows?
You never know. It could be. It's a very interesting 12 months coming up in local football, let me tell you.
It really is.
Yeah. Now we're going to take a very, very short break. When we return, hopefully we'll try and chase up if Ryan McGuffey is available. At the moment, it seems to be a no-show. If not, we'll take a quick look at the Dandenong Thunder and St Albans game from last night, and also we will then wind up. Don't go away, folks. There's still a lot to talk about here on the Football Out West show.
At Guzman Finance, like you, we are passionate about the Western Suburbs and football. Our main passion, however, is helping customers succeed in their financial goals. As trusted mortgage brokers, we offer knowledge, personalised service, and access to hundreds of loan products from Australia's leading lenders. If you're in the market for buying your first home, looking for a better interest rate on your mortgage, renovating your home, or buying an investment property, my team and I will help you manage the process from start to finish. Avoid costly mistakes and expensive loan products. Contact our office on 9369 6805 or 0425 826 055.
Carpentry by NJT is based in the western suburbs and has many years of experience to assist you in sourcing any and all of your carpentry needs. Carpentry by NJT are great supporters of local soccer clubs in Melbourne's western suburbs, including ambitious State League One outfit Sydenham Park Soccer Club. Home Builders Core, meanwhile, is a Melbourne-based construction company by the same owners with more than 15 years' experience. Home Builders Core specialises in new homes and unit developments. With attention to detail, they work to the highest standard to satisfy their customers with a very quick turnaround. For further details about how either Carpentry by NJT or Home Builders Core can help you, contact owner-manager Nick on 0410 576 018 or via email at nick@homebuilderscore.com.au. Carpentry by NJT and Home Builders Core are the proud major sponsors of the Football Out West show. Welcome back to the Football Out West show, and we're going to very much take a look now at extended highlights or the last stages of the big game yesterday, and that's going to be the. Here we go. This is the St Albans game and the Dandenong Thunder game. Steve, we talked about how exciting it was and what a ripper game this one was. But the last few stages, I mean, the last 8 minutes of this game was just incredible. And look, good crowd, excellent football, lots of goals. I mean, was there a better advertisement for a game of NPL Victoria football? And dare I say, this will go down as one of the games of the year.
Oh, easily. I will be surprised if we can top this season, and it's only early. It's only round 2. But if you're not even really into football, you're not even you're certainly not into the NPL football. You could just sit down and just show someone this, and it's just pure drama and entertainment. And there's something special and pure about the local ground, the local atmosphere, the volunteers that are there, and the noise and the atmosphere that is generated from, all of those things and more, and the hardworking players grafting it out on the field. And you can see what it means to the players when the ball's going into the goal in injury time at each end of the ground. Like, you just you can't manufacture this. This is football at its best and football at its purest, I think, Tonchi, and that's why that this is such a good product, a good advertisement for the game as well.
Yeah, look, like I said, 4 goals from 15 minutes or so. It was just incredible. I mean, actually, they scored all 4 goals in the last 26 minutes. So Kamara in the 70th minute. Then we had Lockhead, 87th minute penalty. Carrance in the 91st minute. And then Lino in the 93rd. Now, on the flip side, you had Joey Monek scored in the 11th minute. And then it was the George Ott show. I mean, what's his nickname? Biotta, is it?
Biotta, yeah. I don't know if it's actually officially his nickname, but to us, I think we know him as the Otter. Yeah,
you just made that one up. Yeah, the 17th minute, the 83rd minute, and then in the 97th minute. I mean, that is just incredible. Brenton Ray, good old Brenton Ray, he always has something to say. He says, Dandenong Thunder versus St Albans Saints was one of the all-time great games in NPL Victoria. For a long time, was listening to the match via NPL TV app whilst on the way home. Oh, mate, I totally agree with that.
And look, and as Brenton says, if anything can make, when the trains are cancelled and you got to take the road coach, if anything can make a road coach okay, it must be pretty damn good. And this made his trip home all right. So, wow, that's a measure of how good this action is. What a good, 90 minutes of football.
Yeah, well, next week, Ron McGuffey's St Albans take on Heidelberg at Churchill Reserve. This game is at 8 p.m. on Friday night. It's a shame we could get Ryan on. Hopefully, we might even try and get him on maybe next week or someone from St Albans. This is going to be a blockbuster, folks. I think Friday night game. Heidelberg have been really slow out of the blocks.
And they often are in the early rounds. So it's true to form, but someone's got to get their first win of the season in this game, hopefully.
Yeah, Bentley Greens at home to Green Gully, the Battle of the Cellar Dwellers, as we said on Friday night. As we had our first guest, Aidan Bryce, Avondale at home to Hume City. Port Melbourne Sharks taking on the newly promoted Moreland City. Altona Magic at home to North Geelong in the Western Suburbs Derby. Dandenong Thunder at home to Oakley Cannons. That's going to be a ripper. There's the look at the pandemonium. The scenes of pandemonium there. It was just unbelievable.
Someone with no
insane,
shirt on over the
absolutely
fence.
insane.
What's going on in there?
Oh yeah,
Chaos.
a little kid. Look at him. Goodness me, he's going to become a.
There's a player just being hauled back from the other side of the fence.
Oh, it's just incredible, isn't it? And then stay around for about another 3 or 4 minutes, and then you'll see the last gasp penalty. And then the big one, South Melbourne taking on Melbourne Knights as well. That is on next Monday night. Now, before we go on, the junior NPL has started. As we know, at the moment, it's the grading phase. So they have, what do they call it? The first 11 games is like the grading phase. And in the Western Suburbs, North Geelong Warriors, this is an incredible achievement by a club like that, North Geelong Warriors. They have got every single one of their teams on top after the completion of round 4. So the under 14s, the under 15s, the under 16s, and the under 18s all occupy top spot. Now we've got teams like Western United are hovering there. St Albans are doing well. Altona Magic in some of the divisions as well. But that is a pretty amazing record, Steve. Well done to everyone involved at North Geelong Warriors, and to my co-host from the Ozcro Soccer Show, Josip Zilic, who's now back from Queensland, heavily involved in the football ops down there at North Geelong. It's incredible what they've been doing. Speaking of North Geelong, overnight, Anthony Leban, the former North Geelong Warrior, who is now playing in Croatia in the fourth tier competition, along with several other ex-North Geelong players, Nikis Vlahovic and Luka Skoko, son of Josip. He scored overnight. It was Urania's first win in about 3-4 matches, so quite an incredible achievement that. But, mate, there's a lot of young talent. We talked about it earlier, Steve, the women, the Western United women doing so well. And that's credit to the Calder United factory of producing some of that fine young talent. And it's not just the boys, it's the girls as well, right across the Western Suburbs, really impressing.
Yeah, it's good to see. And it's hard to keep across all of these NPL junior action, but there's so many people doing great work to develop the junior elite level talent, Tonchi. And it's very, very important. It's crucially important because you look at these players that come through these pathways, and Nestor Irankunda today as well, scoring another stunning goal there. He's just turned 17 for Adelaide United against Melbourne Victory. There's some real gems out there, and hopefully there's many more like him to come through these systems. And we've recently, of course, had Garen Quoll as an obvious one, but coming out of the Shepparton area, there's some really good people that put in a lot of good time, and
that's what it's all about.
It's great to see it paying off.
Yeah, giving the young guys a go, and
and most importantly, giving them a chance. Yeah.
Now we'll stay with this goal. If you haven't seen this goal, this is George Ott stepping up to the spot with virtually the last kick of the day. There was 6 minutes of time added on.
And he was made to wait probably 2 minutes from the foul to when he's actually able to take the penalty, just to add to the pressure, facing up against Majak Mawith, who got the gig as the NPL goalkeeper of round 1.
Yeah, and you just watch this, folks. He sneaks it in. He calculates it very well, but this is to save the game. When really at one stage St Albans should have been winning it, should have won it, and there you go. Yep, off the inside of the post. Yeah. Fantastic, and goodness me, I think they just can't believe it. The Dandenong Thunder players, fans, and officials. But that was the culmination of what was a really, really eventful weekend of football locally, and we're glad to be a part of that, and we're glad that you folks have been also a part of tonight's show, so we thank you for being that. Do stay with us for next week, same time. Hopefully Craig might be back, he might not, we're not too sure about that, but it was a really good show tonight. Apologies about the little bit of the audio problem, and also apologies about the no show with Ryan McGuffey will try and get the big is he Irishman, I think, or is he Scotsman?
Scotsman.
Scotsman. Yeah. We'll get him on the show next week, probably after that Friday night blockbuster at Churchill Reserve. All righty. Thanks very much, folks. Thank you for being a part of tonight's show. Steve, enjoy the week, and good night to everyone.
Thanks, Tonch. Enjoy your week in football, and good night.
Bye-bye.